And we are back. It's a political week here at Talk in Tokyo, or the whole world, I guess, after that debate Monday night. And continuing this theme I talked about in the monologue of politicians, political processes around the world, and all the lies, I was thinking in the last week or so how some things with politicians are the same everywhere, right? Whether you're talking about Washington or Tokyo or Paris or London, politicians are politicians. And the things that come up everywhere in the world are campaign promises being big, actual delivery in office being less than inspiring, right? So we cycle from don't change horses in the middle of the stream to throw the bums out. This seems to be the same everywhere. But the main thing is politicians say they're going to do something and then they don't. Or they get involved in some kind of scandal and then they have to apologize. And I just thought, how does this differ around the world? Is it the same everywhere you go? In fact, it is quite different. And to show you what I mean, tonight we've prepared two big comparisons for you. Honoring Hillary Clinton's run for the White House, we thought we'd go back to her husband, Bill Clinton, when he was in office and getting ready for office, and show how he handled, with great empathy, since that's his thing, he handled his big scandal, which was the Lewinsky affair, right? We'll look at that and how he apologized to everybody, and then we'll look at how a much lesser-known politician here in Japan reacted when he became embroiled in scandal. And quick preview, the big difference is emotional IQ, or emotions being present at all, as you'll come to learn in this segment. So, come with me on a trip back in time to 1992, when a then fairly young and fresh-faced and energetic Bill Clinton was up against Daddy Bush, who was in office at the time, and an independent candidate, Ross Perot. And Clinton's big thing brought to the race was his emotions, his empathy. He's the one who could feel your pain. He's got that crack in his voice, and boy, he can just talk right through to your heart. That's Bill Clinton, right? He gets right in there, and he is a master at it. Way better than anybody we've seen in a while. So that's Bill Clinton. And he made some big promises on that campaign trail, and he really connected with people, and he showed us what a wonderful, loving family man he was. Look at this clip. Here he is in the October, let's see, this is the October 11th, 1992 debate. Here's a segment from the C-SPAN clip. Have a look.
The best expression of my family values is that tonight's my 17th wedding anniversary, and I'd like to close my question by just wishing my wife a happy anniversary and thanking my daughter for being here.
Right? So there he was. Bill, wow, what a family man. And wishing my wife a happy anniversary and love out to Chelsea Wright. What a great guy. So expectations were high. People loved him. He got into office, and the next 8 years commenced. Well, we know where it all went. So now, fast forward in your mind up to 1998. All right, now here's the family man again. This is January of that year. This is a clip of Clinton denying what we all found out later to be true. Now look how convincingly he does this. Boy, is he sincere. Pour on the emotions.
But I want to say one thing to the American people. I want you to listen to me. I'm going to say this again. I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky. I never told anybody to lie, not a single time, never. These allegations are false, and I need to go back to work for the American people. Thank you.
Absolutely convincing, right? You see that? It's like, hey, look, this guy is telling it straight. He is leveling with us. Look how he puts that convincing tone in his voice and looks you right in the camera, and just, you know that the voice of authority is delivering the real story here, right? That's what everybody thought. Now fast forward again in that fantastically roller coaster ride of a year to the big confession. All right, back to Bill, the man who promised he told the truth just in January of that same year. Bill Clinton.
Indeed, I did have a relationship with Miss Lewinsky that was not appropriate. In fact, it was wrong. It constituted a critical lapse in judgment and a personal failure on my part, for which I am solely and completely responsible. I misled people, including even my wife.
Aw, shucks. shucks. It looks like Bill with the emotion, huh? Oh, shucks. It looks like I misled my wife. And, boy, he creates that sympathy, doesn't he? I mean, I remember people at the time saying, look, he had coming clean like that, and saying he had let down his wife. I mean, look how much pain the guy's going through. The great empathizer in chief. He was a master at it, and one of the biggest scandals of, the last while, right? Nothing huge, but nonetheless dragged the whole country through stories it didn't want to be talking about and things he certainly didn't want to be talking about. But he made his apology, he put his emotions out on the table, and he really won sympathy to his side. And he managed to pull through, right? He wasn't thrown out of office, so he did something right in the middle of all that going wrong. So, is that how it works in other countries? Let's take my home country, where we're coming to you tonight, right, from Japan, right here in Tokyo. All right, here in Japan, there was a guy a couple of years ago, a politician from Hyogo Prefecture. Prefecture is kind of like a state in the States, right? Japan's got prefectures. And this guy was elected to the Hyogo Prefectural Assembly. So a local congressman, basically, a local assemblyman, not part of the national government. Nonetheless, he became world famous, okay? Now let's take a look at him. The guy's name is Ryutaro Nonomura. You're going to come to know him as No-No-Mura because the things he does are totally wrong. Get this. All right, here he is. Look, this is the picture of him. Now look at that. Nice, fresh face. Boy, doesn't he look like somebody you could trust. I mean, what an innocent kid, right? What could go wrong with a politician like that? Well, plenty, it turns out. Here's what happened. He gets into office on a wonderful campaign pledge to change the world, presumably to make life better for the good people of Hyogo Prefecture, right? He gets into office, and what does he do? Darn, absconds with $30,000 of taxpayer money and heads off to the mountains on 195 hot spring resort trips. 195 with 30 grand, right? Now, that seems pretty bad, at least a little fishy, if nothing else, right? Now, he tried to say, excuse me, what do you know what I was thinking about on that trip? Maybe I had to think about what the good people of Hyogo Prefecture need during these tough times in life. Well, who knows what he thought about, but the point is he said he was on business trips. He was actually going to luxury hot springs 195 times, $30,000. Not good. So it's time for his emotional Clinton-esque moment. Okay, Nonomura, you've got to come out and tell people, I was bad, I was wrong. Please forgive me. A lot was going on, etc., etc. I feel your pain. Japanese style, right? I'm in pain, whatever. So his publicist takes him aside and says, you've got to show sincerity. Nonomura, you've got to show sincerity. People have to believe this heartfelt confession of yours. This apology has to come from the heart and really grab people by their hearts so they're on your side, so you can pull through this whole thing. The problem is nobody feels emotions in Japan. Oh, darn, that just didn't occur to the publicity team over at Nonomura, right? It's true, though. This is the land of kabuki theater, right? Where everything's set in a template. Now you get sad. Now you get happy. Here's what sad looks like. Here's what happy looks like. So you take the guy that's got to give a heartfelt apology and show sadness to the constituents, and he's never shown sadness publicly before in his life. What does he do? He turns to kabuki theater. What does sadness look like? What does sincerity look like? I've got to show sadness. I have to show sincerity. And then the publicist really put the cherry on top, and you've got to show it big. I mean big, Nonomura. Get out there and show them that what you did was a no-no. So off he went, emotionally bankrupt, not knowing what this looks like, to give his heartfelt apology. And here's what that looks like from a guy that's never done anything heartfelt before in his life. Cue Nonomura.
もう一生懸命本当に少子化問題高齢者問題は我が県のねの我が県のねこの
You just don't even know what to say to that. Really? Are you kidding me, sir? You can almost feel the publicist just out of frame, one side or the other. And you can just feel her dying 1,000 deaths as this guy explores for the first time in life what sincerity looks like with lots of emotion. He got that part right. I mean, you could almost see it in his eyes, couldn't you? That he was almost asking himself right there live on camera, was that pretty good? I'd go, oh, I can't believe it. That seemed pretty sincere. No, I can't believe, why did I do? Oh, that seemed pretty good. You know, he kept looking back and kind of rejiggering himself and going in for another wave of it, didn't he? Boy, he could use a few lessons from Bill Clinton, the master of empathy. He should have just said, well, I can't help it. I'm addicted to hot springs. I can't stay out of the hot springs, folks. If you've been to the hot springs like I've been to the hot springs, you wouldn't be able to stay out of the hot springs either. Yeah, I mean, that's what the guy should have done. He's totally emotionally bankrupt. So we got that goofy presentation. But now, of course, the message came out from him that I wanted to change the world, right? And so the world was tuned into this because nobody's ever seen an outburst quite like that from a politician before, right? So some of the reactions from around the world. USA, CBS News said, politicians are always seeking sympathy, but this guy takes the cake. Yeah, I'd say that. That's quite a display there, right? The tirade. The UK said, well, he said he wanted to change the world. Maybe this video will. Yeah, right. As a cautionary tale, this is a little too much sincerity. Some control would help too. Russia, of course, crying, be a man. That's about all they had to say for the whole meltdown taking place on the global stage. Australia, this was a good one. We're usually ashamed of our politicians, but we're not doing too badly, right, with that guy. China, this is very fitting and very appropriate. China says, only $30,000 stolen from taxpayers? We don't even pay attention below $1 million. Tells you a lot, huh? But probably the best one was from Nonomura's former girlfriend who came out and said, okay, all of you people that question why I couldn't stick it out with this guy, I present Exhibit A. And now she's totally off the hook. So that's how it's done worldwide, all right? Every politician lies. Every politician fails to come through on promises. They all end up apologizing for one thing or another. But if you're ever a politician making a mistake, coming out to give that apology, do it Bill Clinton style, with sincerity, with empathy, straight to the heart of your constituents. Don't do it Nonomura style. I wanted to change the world. All right, enjoy the rest of the election season. We'll check back in again later. More after this.
Thank you for watching. Please join our email list at talkintokyo.com, where you'll also find past episodes. From Minato-ku, this has been Talk in Tokyo. Good night.